Next on the Professional Rule Breaker.
I'm Sara Nay with Duct Tape Marketing, and I love listening to the Professional Rule Breaker podcast because we should all be out there breaking rules. So if you're in the growth mindset, you should be listening as well.
Well, welcome back to the Professional Rule Breaker Show. I'm your host, Kathy Walterhouse, and at the Professional Rule Breaker, we are here to help you succeed. So I am so excited to introduce my next guest. Her name is Sara Nay, and she is the COO of Duct Tape Marketing and has been there for 14 years. And in that time, she has helped thousands of entrepreneurs, small business owners scale, grow, and build their business. And she has a passion for helping entrepreneurs and small businesses focus on their zone of genius, which just speaks my language, which I love. So I want to welcome Sara Nay to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Kathy.
I'm excited to have you because I know of Duct Tape Marketing, but for everybody out there that may not know who Duct Tape Marketing is, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Of course. So Duct Tape Marketing, we've been in business for about 30 years now. And really, we have two sides of our business. And so one side of our business, we certify marketing consultants, coaches, and agencies in our fractional CMO approach. And so that's one of our focuses. The other side of our business is we actually work directly with small businesses as well as fractional CMOs. So we practice what we train on essentially as well.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. What side of the business do you like the best?
I have been involved because I've been with Duct Tape Marketing for 14 years. And so I've kind of done all of the areas in our business. And so I started out as an intern, was community manager. I ran our client engagements. And now I'm in the COO seat and I do a lot of training for the fractional CMOs. And that's really what lights me up. I like working with clients. I like uncovering new strategy, but my passion is helping other consultants, agencies, coaches establish themselves as fractional CMOs, and then teaching them everything from like, how do we get started? How do we find our first clients? To then how do we bring on team members? How do we scale up effectively? How do we maintain profitability? And so I love training and I love interacting with people to help them figure out all of those things through each stage of their business.
Yeah, because every single one of those stages is really important. I think it's almost like legs of a table. If you're missing one of those, the table's going to fall. I think the same thing happens in businesses. If you are missing a portion of that, there's going to be that struggle. So what's the first thing that you suggest when working with business owners, entrepreneurs, that they should start on?
So specifically in marketing?
Let's start with marketing. There's so much to talk about, but let's start with marketing.
I mean, a lot of it, if we're just talking about it in general, a lot of it, and this relates to marketing specifically, is you need to understand your target audience very deeply. Who are you selling to? What are their pain points? Where are they trying to go? What does successful transformation look like? But then you have to make sure that your products and your services are aligned to help them get from where they are today to where they're trying to go. And so that's just in general in business, I think, is a really important starting point. But for marketing specifically, you need to look at those things before you can do any marketing, because you have to know who you're targeting. Again, what are their struggles? Where are they trying to go? And then you have to understand what messaging or stories relate to that target audience before you can then say, okay, now we're ready to build out a website or launch a paid campaign or set up email marketing. So that's honestly like the starting point. And it's where I see a lot of businesses miss, is they'll dive into, we'll just start to launch these paid campaigns, but they haven't done the research to understand who they're targeting or what message. And so the campaigns don't perform well because they're not connecting with the right people with the right story.
I'm glad you said that, connecting the right people with the right story, because what I have found is there's a lot of small businesses out there that they almost want to be generalists. Mm-hmm. They don't want to focus on a niche market, on a small market. They're like, no, our product's good for everyone. And their product might be good for everyone, but then their messaging is so broad that I
Yep.
think sometimes when people hear it or they see it, they don't feel like they're talking to them.
Yep, exactly. And it's really important in all of marketing. I mean, if you think about your experience, if you go to someone's website, you have like a couple seconds to get their attention and pull them in. So people when they're visiting a website, they want to know that you can solve their problem and that you help people similar to them. If you can't get that across to them within a couple seconds or minutes, you're probably going to lose their interest longer term. And so it starts there, but then they're going to continue to read on and learn more about you as a company. And they want to continue to know that you know them and their struggles and that you are the person or the company that can solve their problems. And so it's all about connecting with the people that you're best set up to serve and then pulling them in and keeping them engaged.
Okay. So let's say that you have, and I actually call it a connection campaign, but let's say you have this campaign that's going on, email marketing, maybe social media. There's so many different avenues out there, and yet you're not gaining traction. What do you tell the people at that point? Hey there, I am all about making a big difference. So I am so excited about announcing our podcast sponsor for today. They are the very last U.S. family owned manufacturer of consumer goods products. And best of all, their products are healthier and safer for you and just really amazing quality. And I can do all the things that I do if I really wasn't health conscious. So this is very near and dear to my heart because they are healthier and safer for you. And best of all, they will not break the bank. So if you're interested in finding out more information and switching your shopping to something that is non-toxic and healthier for you, go to switchaway.com/rule breaker, and one of my friends will reach out to you. And just let's work all together to see if we can make an impact and switch to healthier and safer products. And of course, supporting small businesses. So again, drop your information at switchaway.com/rule breaker.
I mean, there's a lot to look at. If you have some sort of campaign, like if you're doing like a paid campaign, like there's so many steps along the way that you need to track and analyze. That's where a lot of people, I think, miss, a lot of small businesses miss, is they don't know what to track, what to look at. But if we're talking about a paid campaign specifically, you should be tracking like who's engaging with your ads and what does your conversion rate look like and all of the steps along the funnel, because then that will tell you which step you should optimize. But answering like if a campaign isn't working, whether it's email or whatever it might be, you just have to analyze where it's not working. So are you not getting in front of the right people? Are you getting in front of the right people, but they're not taking the next step? Maybe your call to action isn't very strong. Maybe people are engaging with like your video, but then they're not booking a call. Maybe your video is not very strong or your offer is not very strong. And so it's just understanding like where the drop off is and then focusing on optimizing that step to increase where the drop off might be.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So you said one of my most favorite words in the whole wide world, call to action.
Yes.
So what makes a strong call to action?
It really, I think, when I think about a call to action, a lot of it is dependent on what you're doing leading up to the point of asking someone to do something. And so we have a process. You hear a lot of people use the word customer journey these days. We talk about ours is called the marketing hourglass. And so it's how can people get to know, trust, try, buy, repeat, refer from a business. And so a call to action is often in that try phase. Like you're getting someone to say, yes, let's schedule a consultation, or yes, let's sign up for a free demo, or whatever it is. But they're not going to do that if you haven't focused on getting them to know you. Obviously, it's the first step, but then that like and trust component is so important. So then they're ready to take the try or the call to action step. And so the like and trust is providing value, it's showing your authority, it's establishing credibility, it's being consistent with your branding, telling the story, talking about the problems you solve, targeting them directly. Like all of those things go into like and trust. that then the call to action should be crystal clear. Like the next step is to book a consultation, but you've already nurtured the relationship with her where they're like, yes, I want to book a consultation to learn more, to then potentially move through buy, repeat, and refer, which is the second part of the hourglass.
Yeah, I love that. I've actually never heard that saying before, the marketing hourglass. I mean, whoever came up with that is the genius.
Well, John Jantz, our CEO, did.
Oh, did he?
And really, the whole thinking is, you think of a marketing funnel, a lot of people think of it as just like getting leads in, like a funnel, but we think of it as like there's a bottom half. So that's where the hourglass term came from. So you want to get the leads in, you want to have them convert to clients, but then you have to continue to take care of them from there, because that's where you can often be the most effective in your marketing is if you take great care of your prospects and clients throughout the whole entire journey, and then they become repeat customers, oftentimes it's easier to sell to people that are already trusting and buying from you than it is like a cold lead. And then the best kind of leads are referral sources. And so if your
Yes,
clients are happy
yes.
throughout the whole entire way, and then they refer someone, the beauty of that is then they can skip through the first half of the hourglass really quickly, because they already know you, and then they hopefully like and trust you a lot more because someone referred you, and so they can move to that try phase a lot faster than, again, like a paid ad lead that's never heard of your company. It takes them longer to go through that journey. So really a lot of our emphasis in marketing is taking care of someone throughout the whole entire experience, so they refer you, and that's where you can see a lot of exciting growth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is one of the easiest. And this is what I always tell people. Referrals are like one of the easiest sales channels that's out there, because
Yeah.
exactly what you said, they're already warm, and you don't have to go through that like and trust. They're like, oh, if, X company uses it or my friend uses, they've got to be good,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
You skip
Absolutely.
all those steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've always said that the work always begins when you actually get that contract signed, that client is acquired, because that's true. You can do, there's a lot of work that goes into that top part of the funnel. But I almost think the bottom part, like the hourglass with what you
Yep.
said, is almost bigger
Yep.
on the bottom, because you want to make sure that you have these raving fans. So first off, marketing wise, you can use them as the reference, and you don't want them saying, I hate this, whether it's a company or it's a person, don't go there, because as well as I do, that catches more attention than somebody saying this place is really, really amazing.
Yep.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
I really love, you need to tell your CEO that was brilliant.
Yeah, it's been a core concept of ours for a long time, and the foundation of one of his books called Duct Tape Marketing, actually several years ago that he published. But as you're saying, just the referrals, like a lot of people when they think about referrals, they just think of it as like, oh, I have to ask my clients for referrals and maybe they'll come in. And yes, asking helps, but you have to blow them away throughout all the stages of the customer journey, so they're just naturally referring to people that
Mhm.
they know. And so one of our clients actually recently went through our program. One of our programs is called Strategy First. And basically, we're creating a marketing strategy for this business. And then we transitioned to a retainer. And she was just blown away by the amount of value that we provided in strategy, and then the amount of communication that we do in our retainer engagement. And so she's not even like go out there telling friends about the marketing tactics we're doing. It's more about the experience that she's had with
Mhm.
us this
Yeah.
far, because we haven't gotten to the results phase yet for her. But she's going out and telling her speaker friends without us asking about how great her experience has been. And we've already had a couple introductions made. And it was just because we took care of her throughout the customer journey. We provided value once she became a client. We communicated well. We did things differently than a lot of marketing agencies out there are doing. And so the referrals from her are just naturally coming because of the good experience. And so that's the customer journey. It spreads really from marketing to sales to customer experience. And so it's making sure that those teams are aligned and that they're taking care of your clients. And that's what's going to lead to referrals, not just asking for them. And so
Right.
again, the asking piece, you should ask, but like you have to do all of those things to be able to ask for the
Mhm.
referral.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because if you've skipped any one of those stages, even
Yeah.
if you ask for a referral, they might say yes, but will they really? If you have not wowed them. And you're exactly right. It's that experience of, it's almost just performing exponentially to what their expectations are. I
Yeah,
think one of the keys sometimes is set the expectations in sales, but then always exceed the expectations.
yeah,
Because
absolutely.
because that makes for a very, very happy client. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's great. I mean, and going back to like the hourglass, the buy phase, like a lot of times when we start working with clients, like once someone buys, we're like, okay, what do you do then? And they're like, oh, we just like send them the product or oh, we onboard them and we do that. And I'm like, no, but like, how can you blow them away? How can you surprise and delight them? Like they made this purchase. How can you remind them very quickly that they made a really great decision in the purchase? And so it's an important time in the buyer's journey because again, if your goal is repeat and refer, like you have to take care of every step along the way. And so not just thinking of, oh, the buy phase is a transaction, it's a transaction that is an opportunity to blow them right away.
oh, absolutely. I think, and that is totally thinking outside the box. That is doing something different
Yes.
than I would say, first off, marketing agencies would normally do. But yeah, no, that's really fantastic. So I want to switch gears a little bit and let's go over to the fractional part because I know how important it is for the business owner to be able to spend time in their zone of genius. But
Mhm.
if they are so spread out doing all these different things, they can't.
Yeah.
But it's like a hard habit, I would say, to break, to bring other people in so that they can focus on their own zone of genius and let those people do what they're really good at as well. So, what do you say to people out there that might be hesitant for any type of fractional type of help, or even like some outside coaching,
Yeah.
mentoring, which is somewhat similar to the whole fractional?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I always recommend for someone that's like struggling and they're holding on to too many different things is a book. Actually, I'm a book nerd. So Buy Back Your Time by
Ooh.
Dan Martell is a really great book to get in the mindset of like you shouldn't be doing everything as a CEO. Like you should be focusing on the vision and the strategy for the business and maybe new products you're creating or whatever it makes sense for you to focus on in your role. And then you should find great people to basically buy back your time to give you freedom to be able to do that because that's where true business growth is, but you want to make sure that you're bringing in the right people as well. We work in the fractional CMO role. That's the area that we focus on. And when we come in with our new clients, we're always trying to understand what are your business objectives? How does that relate to marketing? What should we create from a marketing strategy that will help you reach your overall goals? And then we're really big on taking 30 to 45 days initially to create a strategy, to then communicate with the CEO what the strategy is, to then, go to work on it and report back to them on are we reaching these goals? Are we reaching the business goals? Are we all moving in the right direction? Are we aligned? And so that's, I think, a really important piece. And again, where I see a lot of people miss in the marketing space is they start working with outside partners or consultants or contractors, and they end up just like going to work on different tactics or channels that they've seen work for other clients without taking the time to really deeply understand that the business that they're working with and where they're trying to go. And so my advice again, read the book, Buy Back Your Time, but then be really careful with who you're bringing into your business to make sure that they're keeping your unique business, your unique vision, your unique clients, your unique story in mind before they go into any sort of talk about execution.
Okay, so let me dig down in a little bit about that. So, how do you know that you're bringing in the right person? Like, how do you find those people?
Yeah. I always start like regardless if we're hiring someone internally for our business or if we're working with an outside partner, like we're very clear on our vision and our mission and what we're trying to accomplish and our values. And so regardless of who I'm hiring, a partner or an internal person, like I always start there to make sure that we're aligned and that we're excited about the goal we're trying to accomplish and that we're moving in the right direction. So I think that's a great starting point. But then you can tell by the types of questions that people are asking you as part of like the sales process. And so let's say you're potentially hiring a fractional CMO. Like if they're not asking you about like your business objectives, what you're currently tracking, where you're trying to go, what are your short-term and long-term goals, who's your target audience, what messaging are you leading in? Like if they're not asking those strategic questions as part of the sales process, they're maybe not the best fit for that advisor type of role. Like I said earlier, if they're more of like, what are you doing from a tactical standpoint? This is what I suggest. And they're very kind of in the weeds. That's probably not a great, like they might be great marketers, but maybe not the best strategist or high level
Right.
visionary that you need in that role.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. I think sometimes the struggle too is that maybe people bring other individuals in and it's more about delegating,
Mm.
like you do this piece, rather than exactly with what you said, is having a strategy
Yeah.
that will help your business grow rather than just kind of, hey, just take the stuff off my plate, shove it
Yep.
across the side.
Yeah, I feel like that's so common with the clients that end up bringing us in a lot of times is like they have doers for marketing because as you said, maybe the CEO or business owner was doing a lot of the work and then they hired someone to do the paid campaign and to do the email and to do the content production, but they don't have someone overseeing it all and making sure they're aligned and making sure they're working towards the common goals and paying attention to the metrics and saying what's next with our marketing, how should it evolve. If that's relying on the business owner but they're busy on other things, it just doesn't happen. And so you really need that leadership. Even if you're a smaller company, like you really need that leadership in marketing to then help direct the implementers or the doers. But it's really challenging to expect like one person to do it all, which is, I see that a lot as well. There's definitely people that are more strategic and there's definitely people that are better at implementing and executing. And when you're asking someone to be more strategic but then go publish this post on social media, you're distracting them from where their talent lies. And so I think it's an important piece, if budget allows, like having someone that can be more senior, more strategic, but also then having a few different executors on a team is necessary versus asking one person to spread between all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Curious, what size is your typical client that you guys work with at Duct Tape Marketing?
We work in the small business space. Typically, our clients are doing between like 3 and 10 million in revenue, and they've grown up to a certain point based on providing great service, getting referrals, but they're wanting to diversify their marketing in a lot of cases. And so they're wanting to launch different channels. And it's really important to get to that next level of growth is to take a step back and uncover the marketing strategy and what makes the most sense to then ultimately be spending your money on the right things versus playing the guessing game. But we work with professional service providers, home service providers, and we also work with a lot of national B2B brands. So we actually haven't necessarily niched down over the last 30 years. We enjoy working in different industries, but we work with people that are kind of in that growth phase of wanting to expand their marketing efforts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know something that I saw earlier is about mindset. So, why do you think mindset really matters in business?
That's a big question.
That is a huge question. Yeah, we probably should have just started with that
Yeah,
one
I just
to
started there.
begin with. But I didn't want to go through this without
Yeah.
asking you that question because it is, for me, at least in sales, mindset's about 90% of the game. It
Yep.
really is.
Yep.
If you don't have the right mindset, and nothing's going to work, no matter what you try.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think in entrepreneurship or just business in general, it's easy to put a lot of pressure on yourself and it's easy to get burnt out. I see a lot of people just get drained and burnt out because they haven't done a lot of work on their mindset. And I've been there myself. I mean, 6 or so years ago, I was leading all of our consulting engagements. We weren't delegating properly. I was to the point where I was like, I don't think I want or can do this anymore. I'm stressed out. It just wasn't going well. And so I remember going on like a hike that day and coming down, we have a trail in our backyard, and coming down, and I was like, we got to change if I'm going to keep doing this. And so I'm like all in on delegation now. I'm all in on focusing on the right things now. But it took me to get to that point of like almost burnout myself to be able to focus on the right mindset things. Some things I think like the delegation will help you focus on the right things is a big piece for me. Another thing that I focused on a lot lately is like if you're either winning or learning in a lot of cases. And so not to be afraid of failure, but to go out and try things. And if you don't do well at them, dissect it and say, what can we do better next time? And so it makes like new projects or opportunities a little less intimidating because you're putting yourself out there for growth versus putting yourself out there for potential failure. So just figuring out like where are you getting stuck and what are the mindset pieces you need to work on, I think will just help you to continue to grow and evolve.
I love that. I actually just recorded a podcast episode and it's about rejection. And of course, that has
Yes.
a lot to do with failing as well and the mindset that you have with failure. So I love that you brought that up as well. Yeah. It's so interesting. I think we all go through a stage in whatever business, whether you work for someone or you have your own business, where you have all these plates and they're spinning and you're tired and
Yeah.
you get to that point like, okay, I have to make a change in some shape or form. So I love hearing like that you went through that as well too, and what you did to move to the next level.
Yeah, for me, a lot of it was like, okay, what do I like and what drains me? And then focusing on the things that I like a lot more and finding support on the things that drained me because I can provide more value to our company if I'm focusing on the right things. So earlier in the show, you asked like, what do I enjoy the most? And it really is this like training certification program that we have. And so that's where a lot of my focus has gone. And then we've brought in great people on our consulting team to take over a lot of the client work because I do enjoy clients. But that was the piece that I was spread too thin. I was too in the weeds. I just wasn't contributing at a high level because I was so involved in that. And so taking a step back and saying, like, what should I get rid of? What do I enjoy doing? Where can I contribute the most value to the company has gotten me to now the role that I'm in today.
Absolutely. Love this. Absolutely love this. So, Sarah, where can people find you and find Duct Tape Marketing?
Yeah, so ducttapemarketing.com is our website. And we also have a page on there with a bunch of free assets if you're interested. And so it's just dtm.world/growth.
Okay. We will definitely have that in the show notes. I actually took a peek at it. It is a really good resource. So I highly recommend that people go there and check it out. And I really want to thank my guest, Sara Nay. You brought a ton of value. I think we have to have you back.
I would love to come back.
Definitely have to have you back. And for everybody that's out there listening or watching, just want to highlight a couple things because I know what it is that you are doing is so important. You got this special gift. You got to get it out there. You got to make a difference in the world. But there was something that Sara said that I absolutely loved is, are you winning or are you learning? So don't be afraid of quote unquote learning, failing, because every time you fail, that's feedback. And don't be afraid of it because the more that you learn, the better off you're going to be and the better your business is going to be. So again, I want to thank my amazing guest, Sara Nay from Duct Tape Marketing. And thank you everyone for joining. Go out there, be fierce, and then of course, break some rules.
Love it. Thanks for having me, Kathy.
Oh, you're so welcome.